Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. Okay, this time we're going to take a look at this book here, or take a look at some of it, because a lot of it's stuff, we can't really show. This is the Ocelot, #1 from 1994 from Eros Comics by Ron Wilbur. Okay, you may not be familiar with Ron Wilbur. He was from 1954 to 2016. Don't know what he died from. But he was a graphic artist, illustrator, and comics with an X artist and writer. He was strongly influenced by adventure pulp magazines and Japanese science fiction. And he was a frequent contributor to fanzines and produced work for several indie comic companies in marginal mainstream, as well as erotic adventure comics. And that's what this was. This is from Eros Comics, and so it has a lot of nudity and sex in it. I mean, even the sex is not overly graphic, but it has some. I did a stack of an episode with a stack of books. Was a little over a week ago, I think it was, and it had a couple issues of The Domino Lady, and that was done by Ron Wilbur, this guy, and that was also from Eros Comics. So a lot of what he did was of an adult nature, but like there with the Domino Lady, that was an established character from she was a pulp character in public domain, but here the Ocelot is an original character created by Ron Wilbur, and it's a superhero type story, but it has a lot of sex in it, as you can kind of see indicated here by the cover. I'll briefly go through it and show you what I can. Here, the inside cover is the Ocelot, and then our story: woman being harassed. The Ocelot appears. Yeah, she's got this spotty cat skin costume that barely covers anything. She's got more material on her boots than she does on her clothing, and she beats the crap out of these guys. And then the title of this is Trauma, and it turns out she has been. Give you a brief overview here. We find out in the course of the story she was created in a lab. She was a human who was mutated with part animal DNA, and she escaped. And now she is playing the superhero role, and she is currently trying to investigate, along with some cops, I guess, what is being called the trauma killer, because it was a serial killer who, at the scene of his crimes, has written in blood the word trauma. And so she's taken out these bad guys. Someone else appears, another cat person, fully nude, and you can see how cattish he is. Even has a tail, and he is all from is like her, but he is not an escapee. He is working with his particular creators, because he's so feline he can't pass for human like she can. and have a little confrontation. But he said that's not what I'm here for, because he knew she was. Yeah, okay, that's it. She was interested in this trauma killer, and they have scuffle, they have history, and they talk about it. And then he gives her a little bit of information regarding the trauma killer, and whoever was one of the people responsible for their particular condition. See, and I can't show that. It has a flashback with some of her own personal trauma, and and then a little bit of sexy time with the Puma man, and there's a little bit more, and I can't show that. If I can get a hold of this here, there we go, and then that's a little bit, and he goes, gives her a lead. She goes to check on the lead, is kind of threatening with him, saving someone who he was not so nice to, even though they were supposed to be having their own sexy time, but because he's such a brute. He gives her some more information. Turns out that this trauma killer is like her and the Puma, but it was part of a different project, some kind of a military project as a weapon several years before, and he had into a war zone and went rogue and just killed a lot of people beyond what he was supposed to be. And so we see some of that in flashback, and now there's been another trauma killing, and so she is with the cop at that location, and now we have dun 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 to be continued. She is going to her next step in her investigation, whatever that's going to be. This is just issue 1. I don't the story that I got at the time that this was being published, they got this stuff rather sporadically, and quite often it would have, before I ever saw it, some might have been there for several months, and others sold out. So I got this one. I never got any others. I think it was probably just a 3 or 4 issue miniseries, and then here we have Nice Girls in Trouble, featuring the Blonde Avenger. Ad for some more Eros, and a whole bunch of Eros material available for mail order. And Triple X Women and Exotic Fantasy, and more grown-up stuff. Yeah, so that's all I really had to share with you this time. It's abbreviated because, well, it's got too much stuff in there and it is a rather abbreviated story, because you got 6 pages of stuff I can't show, and it's really doesn't have anything to do with the overall plot. But it does have something to do with being Eros. And but I have just a little bit of Ron Wilbur stuff, and I like his stuff. Have some from the fanzines, which if I come across it again, I want to reread and show here at another time. And it was when I was doing this research for this that I learned that Ron Wilbur was no longer with us, and that saddened me, because I always liked his stuff. He was a very decent artist. It appealed to me. I liked his artwork, even though he had some problems with especially women's legs. But I could easily overlook that, just because I liked the stuff that he did. So that's the end of the Ocelot. So thank you for joining me. Please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. Have you read any of the Ocelot or any of the other Eros comics? Because they haven't been around in like 30 years. So if you are familiar with Eros comics, or have any of the other many titles that they published, because they published a lot of European stuff too, and did some of the Frank Thorne Gita material and Moonshine McJugs and other stuff. So that is all. And remember, comics are art.